this is Mike Bowser, and today's course we're going to talk about variables in regards to programming, introduction to programming. In your past with mathematics or algebra, you're probably used to variables being used as single character references like x and y or a and b. A1 plus b2 equals 56, and solve for one of the variables. So programming works a lot in the same way, but with a few differences. In programming, we tend to use variables not only to solve equations, but really to be a storage container, or a bucket, if you will, to hold data that we need to use at some point in the program later on. And today I want to run through some examples of how we use variables. So I like to use the example of a bank account or an ATM. And when you walk up to an ATM, you know you have a certain amount of money in your ATM, your checking account, if you will. So let's say, for example, today in our checking account, you walk up to the ATM and you know I've got $100. And variables are important to have a name behind them that makes sense. For example, in this example today, I'm going to use the word balance. And balance is important to me as a programmer because that lets me know throughout the program, whenever I see the word balance, we're talking about the account balance for the checking account. Okay, and in most programming languages, we have what are called data types, and that's a key important part of C programming. Is you have to tell C what kind of data type or what kind of bucket do I want to use, right? For example, you don't want to use a big cement truck when a bag of cement will do from a wheelbarrow. So it's important for C to know how big of a bucket do you want, how wide, how tall, how long do you want it to be, and that's really what the data type does. And the int in here in front of the name balance means I want a variable that's an integer data type. And all that really means is I just want it to be whole numbers, either positive or negative, but no decimal point in there. I don't want any decimals. So that's what the word int means is integer. So we're going to have a variable called balance today of type integer. So it's going to hold whole numbers. And in here I'm going to set it equal to $100 because that's going to be our balance that we're going to work with today. Then I need to have a new bucket or new variable, and that's going to be like me walking up to the ATM with my check that I got from work for $20, and I want to deposit $20 into my checking account. Now you can do the math in your head, and you know that if I have a balance of $100 and I make a deposit of $20, that my new balance should be $120. So let's create another variable called deposit. Okay, same data type, because we're just going to make it simple, working with whole numbers today. So I have $20 that's going to be my deposit into my bank account. Then we want to have one more variable, and this one's going to be what we're going to call new balance. And this one I'm going to set equal to 0 for now, because I want to keep it nice and blank so I don't have anything that messes with the value when I add the two numbers together. So we've got three variables. We've got balance, which was $100 we started out with in our bank account, $20, which is our deposit we're going to be adding to the $100, and then we're going to have this new bucket that's going to store the two variables together. So it's kind of like making a cake, if you will, or where you add the flour, you add the eggs, you add the sugar, and maybe you pour it into a third bowl to bring everything together with some other ingredients. That's a lot how you can think of variables. So the last part will be what you're used to, is seeing the equational math. So we have new balance. We're going to set that equal to adding our balance plus our deposit, right? So we just go out balance plus deposit. We put these semicolons to let the program know that we're done with that line. So in this equation, it looks a lot like x equals 1 plus 2 solve for x, really, but it's just new balance equals our balance plus our deposit. And you know, based on the math, it should equal $120. So let's go ahead and print some of this stuff out. And let's say balance equals, and this is stuff we'll learn about later on, %d, and then put a comma in here, and we'll say our deposit equals, these are just placeholders, %d, and then our new balance equals %d, and then we're going to put everything at the end here. So we've got balance, we've got deposit, and we've got new balance. So what this line is saying is our balance is equaling $100, which we're printing out here. Our deposit should equal 20, and then we're going to print out the new balance, which hopefully should read $120 when the program runs. And then we're just popping these variable names into these placeholders. So these are just placeholders right here, and then we just push each of these variables into the print line so it'll actually print out. So let's see what happens. And there you go. You can see today balance equals $100, our deposit equals $20, and our new balance equals $120. A lot like you would see on the ATM when you printed out your receipt. It works very much in the same way here today. I always want to thank you for joining me on our discussion talking about variable types and how to use them.